not yet stepped forward. What's the percentage of African Americans in Georgia? Anybody know? What's the percentage of African Americans in Georgia's prisons?
65.
65. Is there anything wrong with that? And if there is, what do we do? And I think if nothing else, you have to stand up, speak out, and maybe even act out. And so I'm looking for solutions. I'm thinking of a Martin Luther King, a drum maker for justice, who had an army behind him. His army has gone to prison. So we do face a civil rights issue in these health and other issues. And I believe that a solution is to determine how we get our army back together. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. In today's society and school, there are a lot of issues and challenges that youth face, such as myself. Issues such as peer pressure, like drug abuse, teenage sex, and skipping school. Academic challenges from parents, teachers, and colleges, and social statuses. Being the proper kid in school isn't easy. You gotta have the money, the clothes, the girls, the cars, the athletic abilities, and even a little smarts too. During my matriculation at Mays High School, I have seen a lot and I have heard a lot. But most importantly, I've learned a lot. I can remember back to my freshman year, and it was probably about the second week of school. We had freshman orientation. And our principal told us to look left and look right at the people sitting next to us. And he said, by the time it is our time to graduate, one of those people will not be sitting here anymore. And I'm proud to say that I'm a senior in the graduating class of 2013 at Benjamin Mays High School. One of the 308 people that will be walking across the stage May 23rd at the Civic Center. However, back in 9th grade, when I received my first transcript, we had 789 students in our freshman class. Unfortunately, because of youth issues and challenges that I spoke about before, a lot of people did not make it. And I'm here today to remind everyone that the main resource needed to meet these challenges is education. Education is the key to success in life. And with the help of community leaders like yourself, teachers, parents, and most importantly, your fellow peers, it will become easier to lift the burdens and issues and challenges of life off of the youth of today. I will leave you with this quote, and then I'll be finished. It says, "No one can go back and make a brand new start." Excuse me. No one can go back and make a brand new start. Anyone can start from now and make a brand new end. This simply means we all make mistakes, and that's what makes us human. We are all faced with challenges and obstacles, but it is not our job to blame others or complain about what's going on. The best way out is through. So with patience, persistence, and perseverance, we can overcome obstacles and challenges that we face every day. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Sheriff Brown's going to fall out of his seat when I start here. When he hears me speak this morning, can y'all hear? When Sheriff Brown met me about 13, 14 years ago, I was a prosecutor in the DeKalb County DA's office working on the Sidney Dorsey Derwin Brown case. And so when you hear my comments this morning, they may be a little bit transposed from my days as a prosecutor. Some of you, I'm sure, are thinking, she's part of the problem, especially after hearing Dr. Treadwell's comments. understand why you might think that the court is part of the problem. But let me tell you that I think the court can be part of the solution. And let me tell you why I think that and what the challenges are. I think we have lots of challenges in the criminal justice system that are being addressed. We've got great accountability courts. We have drug courts. We have mental health courts. Fulton County just got a grant for a veterans court. And I'm gonna talk about Chairman Eves and my pet project in just a minute. But in terms of criminal justice reform, I would like to mention the one thing I don't think is being talked about. There are, in my mind, if you get rid of the if you put the substance abuse and mental health aside for a minute, and you can't do that because they're intertwined, but as sort of a category, we have two categories of offenders that we need to be looking at. One are the majority of serious offenders in my courtroom are young men, okay? Young men, and unfortunately, primarily young black men. Here's the question I pose, and I think we need to have a discussion about. If Dr. Treadwell walks out of here this evening and gets robbed at gunpoint, is there anybody here who's going to say that that person shouldn't go to jail for a long time? I don't know that I can make that argument to you, but let me give you the other side of the argument. If it's a 17-year-old young man, what are we going to do in 10 years when that young man gets out of jail? We may have an opportunity now if we come up with some solutions while he's 17. Once he's been to jail for 10 years at 27, it's done. We might as well just, I don't care about reintegrating and all that, 10 years in prison at age 17. Am I saying he doesn't deserve it? I don't know that I'm saying that. I'm saying, what do we do in 10 years? The other class of offender are the repeat. I see, look at Sheriff Brown. I told you you'd be looking at me like this. The other class of offender that I'm going to talk about the solution to first are the repeat offenders that are at high risk to recommit, but have never gotten any services. And is there a way to deal with them besides just sending them back to the prison system for them to let them out and us send them back? Well, I am proud to say that thanks to Chairman Eves, Fulton County is one of the first first counties in the country to receive a grant to do what's called a re-entry program. Now, if you look at the paperwork, it says second chance. That's a misnomer because it's in my courtroom and it means the last chance. So it's not a second chance because these folks all have 5 or 6 or 7 convictions. So it's a last chance, but here's what we're doing. They are going into the reentry program, which starts with an in-house program of 6 to 9 months where they get cognitive thinking, criminal thinking, substance abuse, parenting skills, GEDs. And I told Chairman Eves when they asked me to take this program, I would not be part of a program that did not include a mandatory GED in it. Not going to do it, Dr. Davis. They're never going to get a job if they're not educated. So we spend 6 to 9 months teaching. Then we spend another 18 months with wraparound out of custody services, including NA, AA, substance abuse, college, housing, parenting, reintegration. We've only been up and running a little over 12 months. I'm proud to say that I've had 4 released. Of those 4, 3, 75%. It's early, so we'll see. 75% after 3 months are clean, sober, and in school. If this works, we hope to, I don't know if the word graduate is appropriate, Chairman Eves, or transition 80 over the next year and a half. If it works, it will be a model for the United States in terms of how we treat our offenders. So please support Chairman Eves. It's a budgetary issue, it's a personnel issue. but in the big picture, it saves us millions and millions of dollars. And you know what these three guys want to do right now? You know what their biggest concern is? They want to work. They want a job. And they have the skills now, and will have the skill set to get a job. Let me tell you about the other solutions. And I've been at it for about 2 years, and I need help from Dr. Davis, and I need help from Morehouse. I supervise my own probationers and young people. They come see me once a month. The DA's office has been great about getting us out of some mandatory minimums with young people so that they don't go to jail for 10 years. In exchange for that, they have to come see me every month. They do book reports, they do job logs, they do resumes. They have to be in school, they have curfews. What I'm finding is that they have not had any accountability. And once they have accountability, they have to come see me, and they work together. These kids help each other. When there's a problem, the other probationers discipline them. And let me give you, I'll end with this example because I know everybody wants to get to questions, which is why I say I need Dr. Davis's or somebody's help. 2 years ago, I had a young man charged with armed robbery. He was 16 at the time. The district attorney's office was good enough to reduce it to a robbery, so there wasn't a minimum mandatory 10-year sentence. In fact, we need a campaign, a public service campaign in this country that says 17 and a gun and you're done. Simple. These kids don't understand. They turn 17, they have a gun, they're done. This young man, Jarvis Davis, 2 years ago was on his way to prison for 10 years at age 16. He's been on probation with me for 2 years. He has never missed a report. He walks from school the first Friday of the month at 4:30 when he gets out of school and comes to my chambers. Comes to chambers because everybody else has to come to court in the morning, but I don't want to miss his school. He's going to graduate on May 23rd with minor fees at the Civic Center from Carver School of the Arts if he can find $250 to pay his graduation fee. Otherwise, he doesn't graduate. His grandmother's on Social Security, his mother's on drugs. That's his support system. Yet he has managed in 2 years to be ready to graduate from Carver School of the Arts on May 23rd with his dreams. That's a success. That's somebody we won't pay for the next 30 years. So between Chairman Eves' reentry program and some accountability for our young folks, I think there are solutions. And I think Dr. Davis's, if we can keep these kids in school, that's an even bigger solution.
Thank you all for those comments. This is a bit of housekeeping. On time, how we doing? Say again? About 5. All right, so let's have questions from the audience, if you would. Just line up so there's a microphone there, microphone here. I just want to ask while we're getting the folks coming up, just a quick response from a few people. What do you see as the purpose of prison? Is the purpose of prison to correct, to punish, to warehouse, to make money? What is the primary purpose of prison? Just quickly, if you had to say the primary function it serves is what?
To keep the public safe and to warehouse.
To keep the public safe and warehouse. Other thoughts?
Economic development.
Economic development. Judge, what did you say?
I think to keep the public safe and punishment.
Okay.
There are consequences for actions.
Okay. So the notion of Department of Corrections, correcting, does that actually happen? Are there real efforts in prisons to correct? There are?
I don't think it's as simple as is corrections doing its job. I think that the issue is, does corrections have the appropriate level of funding and guidance to provide what people need to come home? On the other side, the jobs become important.
Right.
And as we have employer workshops here in Atlanta trying to line up people to hire them, the district attorney, U.S. attorney is holding a breakfast, we're helping a lunch. Got 3 employers signed up. Nobody's hiring. So if corrections had